Now on CoastTV News.
Development dilemma. What's at stake as Sussex County works to balance growth and green space? Parking plans, the latest on Milton's push to add spaces and sidewalks downtown. Plus patriotic pride, how Delaware paid tribute to 250 years of military history in Dover today.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
Good evening. I'm Christina DeRobertis. Thanks for joining us. Tonight, Delaware State Police are investigating a shooting in Slaughter Beach. Police say they were called to this area of Bay Avenue and Slaughter Beach Road around 6 p.m. As of 10 p.m., police say it's still an active investigation. No more details were available at this time. We do expect a press release from DSP at some point tomorrow morning, and we will keep you updated as we learn more. A Sussex County Land Use Reform Working Group continuing discussion about ways to address rapid growth in the area. As CoastTV News reporter Emma Aiken shows us, the focus today was on farmland and the environment.
Most of Sussex County looks like this, or this. The area's rapid growth led the county to establish a land use reform working group, and today their focus was on preserving farmland and critical environmental resources.
It's nice to hear the perspective of people that may have just moved here, or maybe they've lived here for 30 years.
That's Jay Baxter. He's a farmer, and he says these are conversations that will affect generations to come.
We never want to tie the hands of the next generation and force them, if we sell our development rights and we say that land can only be farmed, that's all it can ever be done into perpetuity, then therefore we're forcing generations to come that they must farm.
Local Joseph Moody says he's seen extreme growth over the last 25 years.
If there's a compromise, I hope it's in favor of the land.
Some draft recommendations from the meeting today were proactive rezoning instead of reactive, specific growth zones in the county, incentivized building in certain areas versus others, and density changes. Growing ideas for the future of a growing county. In Sussex County, Emma Aiken, Coast TV News.
Earlier this afternoon, Milton's Town Council met to discuss design options for a parking lot that would go next to the Milton Historical Society. CoastTV reporter Zakia Jennings shows us how that project is coming along.
In this room was a discussion about this lot right next to the Milton Historical Society. Right now, it's empty, but in the future, it will be an additional parking lot for people in town. Part of the discussion during the meeting was whether to include a sidewalk.
I think the town council today made a very good decision and a correct decision.
A sidewalk will be included, something Steve Crawford is happy about.
It's important for not only walkability, but more importantly for safety. People coming out of the new proposed parking lot, you do not want them walking through the parking lot. Traffic is in there.
Jeff Siemens even submitted his own design for the town to review. Though his design was not one of the final two for review, he says after the meeting he was
feeling good.
However,
the difficulty today was that they had more than one plan that they were looking at.
The town council settled on two designs, which will be reviewed again and voted on at a later date. In Milton, Zakia Jennings, Coast TV News.
Now we're looking live outside into Lewis, and our first alert chief meteorologist Paul Williams joins us now with a check on the weather. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. Well, becoming warmer, and actually we're concerned about air quality here because of the combination of the higher temperatures, more in the way of humidity, and that leftover smoke we kind of have just dancing around the area. Yeah, it makes it a little bit tough on occasion. Now, right now at Dry Tech Camera at 72 degrees. We're going to stay in the lower 70s for the rest of the night. Here's where our temperatures are right now. We're at 74 in Georgetown, 77 in Bethany Beach, 76 degrees right now. Ocean City, we're at 77, in Millsboro and Milford, we're at 75 right now. Delmar, here's a look at the future smoke that we're talking about. Now, we should see this begin to clear out for us nicely. Temperatures are going to stay close to the heat index is going to kick things in. But here's the air quality concern. You see these orange dots? That means we're at unhealthy near Dover and to our north, but we're at least at a yellow right here in our immediate area. So as the temperatures go up, the air quality tends to go down, and that's what we're looking out for right now. Coming up, we're going to talk about that chance of rain over the weekend.
Thank you, Paul. On your screen now is the brand new Humane Animal Partners mobile vet van. A ribbon cutting took place this morning, officially starting the van's journey that was years in the making. The van is equipped with a surgery table and it can spay and neuter on the road. Hap says this van was a long time coming.
It feels amazing for it to be here and for us to already have a plan in place to put it in action. It even has that new van smell, which is nice. But yeah, we're just thrilled. It's a wonderful, modern way for us to be able to serve the animals of Sussex County.
New van smell. Hap says you should keep an eye out on their website for dates of when that van will be in your town or city here in Sussex County. Delaware Democrats have introduced a bill that would restrict school resource officers and school constables from cooperating with federal law enforcement agencies in immigration matters. That is, unless they have permission from Delaware's Attorney General. Advocates are pushing for the bill to pass, saying schools should not be involved with ICE operations.
They should not be the ones cooperating with ICE. They should not be the ones telling ICE who are the children, probably the names of these students, when their parents come to pick them up.
And that bill now heads to the House floor for further consideration. Now to a story we have been closely following here at Coast TV. Today was another day in the legislative session, and District 20 Representative Stell Parker Selby is still absent. Parker Selby, who represents roughly 23,000 voters in the Milton area, has missed every single House vote this year. That's at least 118 votes. And this brings us to our Coast TV poll. We want to know what you think matters most in Stell Parker Selby's absence. Looking at the results now, 72% say district representation, 15% say answers from leadership, and 13% say the representative's health. We want to know what you think. It's not too late to vote. You can do it on CoastTV.com or using our mobile app. Well, a major military milestone was honored and celebrated at Legislative Hall today. The Army, Navy, and Marine Corps each marking their 250th anniversary this year. Delaware lawmakers took time to recognize the occasion. Veterans from across the first state, spanning many generations, joined lawmakers today to mark the moment. In addition to the ceremony, 3 House resolutions, one for each branch, were introduced.
The House of Representatives wants to show that we are actually taking action to make the veterans honored and special. They deserve it.
And those House resolutions were presented by Representatives Hilofsky, who you just heard from, Representative Short, and Carson. In Washington, D.C., more and more roads are being closed ahead of the Army birthday celebration and parade this weekend. More than 100 military vehicles going to roll down that parade route. U.S. Senator for Delaware Chris Coons said today he doesn't find the parade necessary. Take a listen.
We haven't seen a parade of tanks and thousands of troops and flyovers by military aircraft in our American capital in decades. And that's on purpose because that's more typical of capitals like Moscow and Beijing and Pyongyang than it is Washington, D.C. It's important that we recognize and celebrate the 250th anniversary of the United States Army. Many of my family members served in the Army. It is a critical and proud branch of the U.S. Armed Forces, but it doesn't require this big and expensive of a display for us to recognize and celebrate the service of soldiers back to the very founding of our nation.
Roughly 700 U.S. Marines may be deployed to Los Angeles tomorrow following a week of unrest as demonstrators protest recent immigration and enforcement raids. The protests have actually inspired other protests in major cities across the U.S. Michael Yoshida is in Los Angeles with the very latest.
Hands up, hands up.
A U.S. senator forcibly dragged out of a press conference and handcuffed by federal agents Thursday.
I have questions for the secretary.
This all playing out after California Democratic Senator Alex Padilla interrupted a press conference with the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, defending recent immigration raids. Those raids sparking days of protests in Los Angeles.
Hands behind your back.
Following the altercation in L.A., Padilla was emotionally shaken.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem responding.
His approach, was something that I don't think was appropriate at all.
The incident sparking a political firestorm with both sides of the aisle lashing out.
To turn the temperature down in this country and not escalate it.
This is not what democracies do.
All of this unraveling as demonstrators protest the Trump administration's ICE raids and the White House's crackdown on illegal immigration. The protests began in LA last Friday night and have since spread to cities across the U.S., including in New York, Denver, Chicago, and Atlanta. In Los Angeles.
And we have more news to get to this evening. Coming up next, renewed air travel safety concerns following a deadly plane crash in India. But first, turning tragedy around, how one family is honoring their son's legacy by giving back to Delaware youth. That's up next.
And our Bay forecast, we're looking out for rain on Friday, rain on Saturday, and a bit drizzly and cloudy on Father's Day. Details on your full forecast, we'll be right back.
Sports are a great way for children to stay active while learning important life skills like time management, working hard, and making new friends. But the cost of playing sports, it can be a barrier for many families. In this week's Coastal Connections, Elisa Weber introduces us to a family who is trying to turn tragedy into something good for the community.
Coming together for a good cause, one putt at a time. On this course, it's not just about the game. These golfers aren't just here for the competition. They're playing for a purpose. They're playing for the Jason Anderson Foundation for Youth Sports. This foundation works to ensure every child has the chance to play no matter their family's financial situation. The foundation was created in honor of Jason Anderson, who tragically lost his life in a car accident in 2015 at the age of 33.
You never accept what happens, okay? You never get used to it. And people can tell you, oh, it's been 10 years, you should be fine. Trust me, you're not. But for us, it's our ability to continue to contribute in Jason's honor and his name.
Mark Anderson, Jason's father, believes this is exactly how his son would have wanted to be remembered, by helping kids discover a love for sports the same way Jason did.
Jason was a great guy. I mean, he was just a lover of sports. We used to go to baseball games, Oriole baseball games, and of course it would be in the evening, and it's a night game, 7 o'clock start. He's charting all of the game activities, and of course the Orioles are losing 10-2. And I say, come on, it's time to go. We got to go. You got school tomorrow. I got to go to work. No, Dad, we can't leave yet. The game's not over. That's just the kind of guy he was in terms of the love of sports.
What started as a childhood passion turned into a lifelong journey. Jason went on to work with major organizations like the New Orleans Saints and Dover Motorsports. Honoring Jason's life by giving back just made sense for the Anderson family.
When they say people die too young, good people die young, he was one of those. He was just a great guy, would do anything for you.
While the past 10 years without Jason have been difficult, his father says Jason's 11-year-old son Ryan has brought comfort, reminding the family so much of Jason.
He's actually a really good soccer player, and he's now starting to get into golf. He's talking about wanting to play baseball and basketball. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and that one didn't fall far from the tree. He is just like Jason.
Since it began in 2016, the Jason Anderson Foundation has raised $80,000 for the community. Jason carried the lessons he learned in sports with him throughout his entire life, and now many children across Delaware will get to learn those same values.
Teamwork, that leadership, that friendship, those are things that will last you a lifetime.
For Coastal Connections, I'm Elisa Weber.
Well, we're a bit on the muggy side for right now, and we're going to stay that way for the next couple of days as we wrestle with some rain showers, actually, for probably the next 2 to 3 days in a row, and more rain even next week. Welcome to summertime heating shower patterns. Irish Eyes camera, Lewis. Tranquil conditions at this point. Temperatures in the 70s. Now we'll see increasing cloud cover as we progress throughout the night. We had a high today of 91 degrees. Just to kind of show you how we were reaching for the stars, we're only 4 degrees away from the record, which was actually set in 2017. Now we're in the 70s. We're at 77 in Indian River Inlet, 77 in Millsboro, 76 right now in Georgetown, 72 in Willards, and 72 also in Ocean Pines. But take a look at the dew point temperatures in the upper 60s, mid to upper 60s. That's a lot of moisture that's hovering in the atmosphere that's adding a little cheddar to the cheese that we already have mixed up in the atmosphere in the form of moisture, 68 for us in Indian River Inlet for the dew point temperature, 68 in Millsboro. By the way, 68 degrees. If there are thunderstorms ever coming through and it's at 68 degrees, all bets are off, because that would mean that you'd have just enough moisture for all storms to come through to become severe. Just a little trivial for you. And that's why it's so remarkable to see that we're looking at projections of the dew point temperatures being in the 70s for Friday evening. If we have some storms that come through in the evening time when this dew point temperature is this high, man, we're going to have some real fireworks in the upper atmosphere. But I think what rain will have will be connected to the daylight hours for the most part. Now, mugginess, that's universal, and that's going to stick around in the day and the night. We're going to stay from humid to very humid. Friday going into Saturday, it will drop down to muggy. Isn't that ironic to say that? By the time we get to Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But right now, we are very clear at this point. We have a little concern to our north with still some air quality advisories to our north and throughout portions of New Jersey. But high pressure is in control of our weather, so we stay clear. As we begin to take a look at what's happening with our expectations by noon is when we look watching out for those scattered showers to kick in. Now remember, I was just saying that I suspect this is going to happen during the daytime hours. So Friday, warm and muggy, afternoon showers, and then for the weekend, the stalled front on and off showers and cooler, particularly for us on Father's Day. But as far as tomorrow is concerned, 82 for Georgetown and Millsboro, into the 70s for us in Lewis. Highs for tomorrow, 89 in Vienna, just blistering hot there, 87 in Cambridge. We'll warm to 84 degrees actually in Berlin. For the evening time for Friday, most of the rain should be out of the way by 6:30 when we clear out early Saturday morning, and then Saturday afternoon we'll see some popping by about 1 o'clock between Lewis and Rehoboth, and just also hitting Dewey Beach. Bethany Beach should clear out pretty quickly. Now our chances of rain will stay elevated for Friday and Saturday, and then redevelop Sunday going into Monday, and then we'll go back down to widely scattered. You see, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we have basically this connection with the cold front and the warm front that's pushing through right now, and that's going to make for some scattered showers to push through Sunday going into Sunday evening and going into Monday. So we'll see the scattered showers just kind of dance across our region steadily for a while. So all that being said, here's what we anticipate. Tonight, increasing clouds, warm and muggy, 69 degrees. Tomorrow, partly sunny skies initially, humid all day long. Isolated scattered showers and thunderstorms, winds out of the south-southeast, 5 to up to 15 miles per hour, particularly when it's raining. It'll be a little gustier then. Saturday, 78 degrees, mostly cloudy skies, PM scattered showers and thunderstorms, winds out of the southeast. And finally, here's a look at the extended forecast. Now, we're going to see increasing cloud cover from Tuesday. That's a new model run there. And then we're going to escalate back into the 90s again by next Thursday.
All right, thank you, Paul. Well, today's deadly Air India crash puts summer travel safety back under scrutiny and Boeing's track record under another harsh spotlight. Karen Kafa in Washington with a look at how the disaster is reverberating through the airline industry.
This is a difficult day for all of us at Air India.
The CEO of Air India says investigations into what caused a London-bound flight to crash shortly after takeoff from the western India city of Ahmedabad will take time. Meanwhile, the deadly crash of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner will put the American aerospace giant and the aircraft under greater scrutiny.
This is a devastating setback for the company.
The Dreamliner debuted in 2011 and got off to a rough start. In 2013, the FAA initiated a global Dreamliner grounding over fire risk associated with battery failures. But the Dreamliner had never experienced a fatal crash until Thursday.
It's never had a crash that involved fatalities, and it is a highly automated aircraft.
Boeing said in a statement they were in contact with Air India and ready to support the airline. The company has been mired in a years-long quality control crisis, including 2 deadly crashes of its 737 MAX plane in 2018 and 2019. Before the crash, on Wednesday, members of a Senate panel asked President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Federal Aviation Administration how he'd hold Boeing accountable for safety.
I look forward to advancing our certification technologies, processes, employee development around certification, and certainly holding Boeing accountable.
The crash also putting air safety back in the spotlight as the summer travel season heats up in the U.S. And less than 6 months after an Army helicopter collided with American Airlines Flight 5342 on approach to Washington's Reagan National Airport, leaving 67 people dead. In Washington, I'm Karen Kafa.
Meanwhile, a runway is closed at Logan International Airport in Boston after a plane rolled off the pavement onto grass when it landed today. Massport says no one was hurt and the runway is now closed while officials investigate. Coming up in sports tonight, more Summer League boys basketball. Laurel takes on Stephen Decatur in a cross-state battle. And coming up, saying goodbye to Rite Aid on Delmarva, what you need to know as stores shut their doors.
This is CoastTV News at 11.
A major pharmacy chain is going bankrupt and Delmarva about to feel the effects of it. Rite Aid in the process of closing stores and selling off assets. That includes every single location on Delmarva. There's word today that some are closing very soon. Others will be open for a few more months. The company says it will help people transfer prescriptions to other pharmacies, but some neighbors fear that process could be difficult.
For me, it's not going to be that hard because I have the knowledge and I know I have to do it. But you have to think about the elderly, the young parents that don't know, hey, I need to find a pharmacy ASAP and actually have that pharmacy call in to, have these prescriptions transferred.
Now, the Salisbury Area Chamber of Commerce says they expect major job loss, estimating that stores in the area employ between 40 to 50 people each. Well, a concert, a mall, in airports, on planes, these are the places where people in the U.S. have reportedly been exposed to measles. And as you travel this summer, health officials are urging you to stay safe. In today's Health Minute, Mandy Gaither has more on how to pack virus protection into your travel plans.
It's a highly contagious disease, easily spread through a cough or sneeze. Measles cases continue to climb in the U.S., prompting an advisory from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, warning of exposures during summer travel.
I think there are a number of viral infections that we need to be concerned about when traveling or just in the summertime.
Dr. Daniel Koritzkis with Brigham and Women's Hospital says the best protection against measles is vaccination. The CDC advises the virus can live for up to 2 hours in the air or on surfaces, and an infected person can spread measles up to 4 days before until 4 days after their rash starts. The measles vaccine is routinely given to children in 2 doses, one typically between 12 and 15 months, the other usually around 4 to 6 years old. But adults who haven't been vaccinated or are unsure of their vaccination history should also consider the vaccine.
In some circumstances, it might be appropriate for infants to get immunized even if they're younger than 15 months.
Other viral travel threats, norovirus. Koritzkis says hand hygiene can help protect against that virus, and there's still COVID-19. He says cases typically tick upwards during the summer.
If you are somebody who's 65 and older or have a medical condition that puts you at greater risk for severe COVID, and you're going to be in crowded situations, especially indoors, then you should seriously consider getting a COVID booster if you haven't already done so.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studios.
The Maryland Supreme Summer League for boys basketball was back in action tonight over at the Worcester County Rec Center. Some teams are starting to show their identities and the type of team they could be by the time the winter rolls around. Let's get into some of the highlights. We've got the red-hot Laurel Dogs coming off a win on Monday, taking on Bull on the Beach from Stephen Decatur. Early on, the Dogs were picking up where they left off. Khalid Burton perfectly evades 3 defenders and gets the tough layup to drop plus the foul. Now Laurel in transition. They're going to hit Burton again, except this time he's going to get the new fashion 3 from beyond the arc. That makes it 9-4 6 minutes in. And the 3 balls wouldn't stop there. This time it's Zabrian Ely taking the screen and drilling the long-range shot. A big 17-4 start for the Dogs. Bull on the Beach would slowly chip away here. Jonathan Purnell going full speed, but still has the precision to get this up and under layup to drop. Big time bucket makes it a 9-point game. Less than a minute left in the half. Ely returning the favor, bracing for contact and earning the bucket. Laurel leads by 13 at the break. Time for the defense to get some love. Ashton Lucas with some quick hands to force the steal. Has a good look at the layup, but Burton is there to clean up the miss. Lead up to 15, and they would not be denied. The Laurel Dogs win it to 27. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night, everyone.
Here's a live look outside into the Milford area. We'll have one more check on the forecast coming up after the break. Don't forget, each and every Friday, you can cheer up with a weekly dose of local good news from Coast TV. We have features, we have cool things to do each weekend, and more, and you can sign up for free. Just go to coasttv.com/sign up.
Here's a look at our Tidal Health camera in Salisbury, 73 degrees. Our skeeter meter, courtesy of Pet Solutions. Listen, we're going to have very high percentage and problems with mosquitoes on Friday, staying at a high level for Saturday, and we'll go to a moderate level by the time we get to Daddy's Day. Our umbrella giveaway winner, Barbara Adams of Lewis, congratulations, courtesy of Paul Davis Restoration Home Remodeling. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line. The number to call is 443-880-9100. Your forecast is just a call away, sponsored by the law office of Brockstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. 84 for the high for tomorrow, along with some scattered showers and thunderstorms in the afternoon and evening. We're looking for some morning rain, actually, for Saturday and possibly redeveloping in the afternoon. Sunday, Father's Day, a lot of drizzle, some fog throughout the day, and then we'll have some scattered showers that will redevelop for us on Monday. It is going to be a little bit cool on Monday with the temperature of high of only 70 degrees.
All right, thanks again, Paul, and thanks for joining us for Coast TV News at 11 tonight. You can always find some more local news and weather on our Coast TV News app. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon's up next. Join us again tomorrow for Coast TV News at 5 a.m. Have a great night.